So Lee Camp is one funny mother. Shut your mouth. Lee Camp, he made a joke about Juan Guaido, and he was like, he wasn't even elected. Nobody elected him president. How can you just, point out to a guy in a crowd and say he's president? Yeah, Juan Guaido, he's the president of all of his stuffed animals assembled on his bed, right? The Lord of the Flies. Okay, that part was me, but the stuffed animals, Juan Guaido is the president of all his stuffed animals. Me's a we and we's a me. So, Donald Trump, he's basically like Hitler without all the warmth. Gilbert Godfrey. Okay, enough jokes. Belarus fascist tyrant Alexander Lukashenko. Okay, a.k.a. Luca Brasi. Now, he's the president, right? Lukashenko. He's the president of Belarus since 1994. That's the same year they got the brand new constitution. So he comes in, rewrites the constitution, says he's the father of the country, right? The country's been around for a long-ass time, but he is the father. And 26 years. He's been in office for 26 years. So we got to talk, America, we have to talk about Luca Brasi. Apparently he's claiming a 6-term victory. So he's already had 26 years. Now he's going to have another 6 years. He's going to be in there for 32 years. I'm 38. So that means 32 years is what? When I was 12 years old? There's people in Belarus, there's 26-year-old people in Belarus, their entire lives, they've had one leader. I mean, my God, think about having, a Donald Trump for 3 years is terrible. Imagine having a Donald Trump for 26 years or 32 years. The area of Belarus, 207,000 kilometers squared, 1.4% is water, 9.5 million people. They produce $200 billion of GDP every year. They're 69th per capita. They're making $21,000 a year. So that's better than Castile County, Colorado, and eastern Kentucky. And that was the PPP GDP. Let's see. What else do we know? The currency is the Belarusian ruble, the BYN. You drive on the right side. So Belarus is better than Britain, right? You drive on the right side of the road in Belarus, colon code 375. So what? Who cares? Why am I talking about Belarus, right? Belarus is located right there on the western side of Europe, on the left side of Russia. They have the official languages Belarusian and Russian. Recognized minority languages Yiddish, Polish, and Ukrainian. So let's see. The most populous city is Minsk, Lithuania, Latvia to the northwest. Over 40% of its 207,000 square kilometers is forested. Lots of forest in Belarus. Its major economic sectors are service industries and manufacturing. Okay, so I think they also have universal health care. So that's a little bit general information of Belarus. So this Lukashenko, I'm going to call him Luca Brasi from The Godfather, that douchebag from the... So old Luca, right, old Luca Brasi. Luca Brasi, he claimed to have won this last election. This would be the 5th day of riots if the riots happen today, which it sounds like it's likely. But he's going to claim that he won 80% of the vote. He won 80% of the vote? That's like, what, a Saddam Hussein kind of victory. My God, he is just so overly beloved. The people just overwhelmingly ran out to go and vote for this fascist tyrant. Even George W. Bush said that he's the last dictator in Europe. 26 years? You know how I know he's a dictator? Because he's been in there for 26 years. You know how I know he's a dictating, fascist, tyrannical piece of shit? Because he won with more than 80% of the vote. He went ahead and rigged the vote, stuffed the ballots, he cheated with the election. They don't have democracy in Belarus. Luca Brasi is a criminal. 6 terms, 26 years, 80% of the vote. The main opposition challenger, Sviatlana Tikhanovskaya, she refuses to accept the outcome. No, she does not believe that this is a fair election. No, I do not accept these terms. Now, Luca Luca Brasi, he must absolutely think that his nation has been so fucked up majorly with the Chernobyl accident to believe his 80% victory bullshit. To go along with the 26 years, yeah, my God, 70% of the radioactive fallout from Chernobyl landed in Belarus. And that was in 86, that was before him, but it exploded in Ukraine. This is the world's worst nuclear accident. So Belarus got hit hard by the Chernobyl radioactive poisoning. So perhaps they just, they don't know how to stand up and resist. They don't know how to be human. They don't know what freedom is. I don't understand what's going on. When it comes to Diverger's law says that in a winner-take-all system, in a democracy like America with the presidential system, the first past the post, two candidates usually are the main two. Even if you have 10 candidates. If you got 10 candidates, eventually two are going to float up to the top, and it's going to be those two are going to be the main ones. It's Diverger's law. Now, I looked at U.S. history, I'm thinking, my God, 80. Now, they're going to say that Svetlana, so Svetlana, I like Svetlana. I like Oksana, too. Oksana Bayul, right? So, Svetlana, they're going to say she got 9% of the vote. So you have Diverger's law, right? It should be like 51-49, maybe 60-40. 60-40 is a landslide in American politics. Svetlana. So when I went and looked at what are the farthest, that is 80 and 9. That's 71 percentage points. That's what this Luca Brasi's going to sit there and say that he's won by 71 percentage points. 71 point spread. My God, he's like the Harlem Globetrotters playing against, some kindergarten basketball team. So I looked at U.S. history in the modern, era. 1940, FDR won by 10 points. That was a landslide. Now, LBJ, he won by 23 points. Ronald Reagan won by 18 points. But Luca Brasi, 71 points. So LBJ, right, 23 points. Fantastic landslide, right? He basically took, all the states. Ronald Reagan, 18 points. He took all the states. FDR won by 10 points. Look at the electoral map. It looks like they took the whole country. So these, 10, 18, 23. 23 is a landslide in American politics. But Luca Brasi, he beat Svetlana by 71 points. 71 points. Wow, man. This Belarus must just adore Luca Brasi. I'm sure Luca Brasi isn't a fascist, tyrannical piece of shit. Of course he is. Okay, so let's just carry on. This is important, America, for you to understand, because this could happen in our country. There's a bunch of post-election protests that happen. It's actually kind of amazing that, like 2000, Electoral College, like we don't protest these bullshit elections. We don't have ranked choice voting. They're not fair elections to begin with. And plus the gerrymandering and then the voter suppression. So, Belarus, was it a fair election? There was no international observers to the election. So, no, it's not. Nobody said so. Nobody in the world, except for Russia, but Russia's just trying to get a power grab, right? Hey there, 26-year dictator. And that should tell you all you need to know about fucking Putin, right? That fucking bastard. I had some friends that actually seemed like they were somewhat partial to him. No, in Crimea, they had that sham election. He invaded Crimea and annexed it and took it. So that's dictatorship. That's imperialism. That's dictatorship. That's just pure power. Lukashenko came to power in 1994, 2 years in the Clintons' first term. 26 years. 26 years. Everybody knows Lukashenko is a dictating piece of shit. Everybody knows Lukashenko is a tyrannical, low-life dirtbag. Everybody knows it. Everybody in Belarus, everybody all over the world. So the United Nations needs to intervene yesterday. And, I've already explained how I know FDR, he only got 12 years as a leader because we loved FDR. We kept electing him. But you're going to tell me 26 years? Belarus hasn't had a democracy for 26 years. They haven't had a fair election for 26 years. And just look at the crackdown. Look at what Luca Brasi is saying. Is Luca Brasi trying to make amends? Is Luca Brasi going to give some concessions? No. He's going to double down. He's a dictating fascist piece of shit. So he's going to have a major crackdown, major violence, water cannons, bunch of, stun grenades and whatever, bunch of tear gas. Looks like martial law. George W. Bush, baby Bush in 2005 said that Belarus was the last dictator in Europe at the head of an outpost of tyranny. Even George W. Bush could look at Belarus and say there was a dictatorship. Even Donald Trump, I've heard the press secretary and Pompeo, they're saying all the right things, that the people of Belarus deserve their freedoms and they deserve to be protected. So they're saying the right things. They know the difference between right and wrong. They know that if you're a dictator and you cheat in the election and you stay, then the protesters are in the right, and that they need to do what the protesters say. Belarus is at the crux of revolution or repression, and that's, the stakes are high. The revolution wins, Belarus will have sunshine for the rest of their lives. If the repression wins, they will have hard fascism because they just had to defeat a revolution. So the fascism is going to be even double. And once the rebellion, if the revolution loses, it becomes just an uprising. It just becomes a rebellion. So Lukashenko, he said of the protesters that he wants to wring their necks like one might do to a duck. Just like our president, right? Well, back in the old days, we used to, him good. And so Luca Brasi says that protesters, a person that goes out and has a sign and says, we want freedom, that they should be choked to death, for their heads to be ripped off, wring their necks like a duck. So, if a prime minister or president or whoever wants to stay in office for too long past their term, we need to go chimpanzee. We need to go chimpanzee on them. We can't allow them. Are we not related to the chimpanzees or not? Sometimes we gotta go chimpanzee. Some of these, goddamn monkeys, fascist monkeys, they just want to monkey around. So Belarus is at right there, the Iron Curtain. On the left of Belarus is Europe, on the right side is Russia. Belarus has got a terrible economy. It's the fastest police state. They got to deal with all the COVID stuff. They've only had 600 cases of COVID. This guy ain't even taking the coronavirus serious whatsoever. And again, with the protest, he's just doubling down when he says, okay, why are they protesting? He says, well, they're criminals for one thing, and they don't have jobs. They have criminal records. They don't have jobs. Is he throwing everybody in jail? You go get a job, you bunch of bums, says the president of Belarus to his own people. Get a bunch of jobs. Enslave yourself, you bunch of bums. You're a fascist, right-wing piece of shit, Luca Brasi, Luca Brasi, you need to step down, Luca Brasi. There was one protester said was injured by gunshot. I heard that the gunshot went through his, and they called him a protester, but he was actually walking his dog and saw police harassing some people, so he started videotaping them, and the police shot him, shot through his hands. Journalists are having their cameras smashed, and their footage is deleted. So they're attacking not just peaceful people, they're attacking journalists, people that are just documenting shit. Hell, we've seen people, the journalists, look at that black dude right there on CNN, right there on camera, get arrested. This is the police state. I recognize a lot of this stuff. It seems like for Belarus, the best thing that Belarus has going for it is that they know, and the entire world knows, that this Luca Brasi piece of shit is a dictator. So they could change it all, and they probably will. So this is fantastic a moment for Belarus because they have to change. They can't tolerate it anymore. And they need to get their change. They have to get their change. The United Nations needs to intervene. So Belarus government, they disabled the internet, right? They shut the internet down, just like the Egypt attempted revolution 2010, 2012. But that's what dictatorships do. Oh, shit! There's a revolution outside. Well, shut down their communications, right? So expect that to happen in America. Expect for there to be a crackdown. You're not allowed to get out in the streets. You're not allowed to protest. No freedoms. And the internet is going to get shut down. And if the internet gets shut down on election day, just know it's the fascist in chief. So just like in Portland, in Belarus, they have unmarked black uniformed people going around acting like the police, but nobody can be for sure, right? Wasn't that one white supremacist, he was dressed in all black and sitting there breaking windows? Just sitting there breaking windows, pretending that he's what, black bloc? That's what these white supremacist pieces of shit are willing to do to sabotage a good, peaceful Black Lives Movement, pretending that they're the violent ones, when it actually is the white supremacist who is the violent one. So in Portland, they're chucking folks in the unmarked vans. Men in camouflage uniform are firing rubber bullets at folks. Thousands arrested, including 55 journalists. 55 journalists? People that just went out to document. So not only are these peaceful protesters, but they're peaceful professional, not even protesters. People that are documenting what the protesters and what the government is doing. We had 4 nights so far. Right now it's 10 a.m. in the a.m., August 13th, Thursday, 2020. 4 nights of post-election riots so far. Now, the rabbit hole continues to get worse. In 2010, the opposition, they were made to say that, they denounced this. They read scripts. So they would sit there and forced to, basically denounce their own people and say that Luca Brasi is a badass. In 2015, Luca Brasi, he won 84% of the vote. So, he's actually gone down in popularity. He only got 80%, this year. 2015, 84% of the vote. He was a corrupt, dictating piece of shit in 2015. He probably was a dictating piece of shit in 1994. Luca Brasi told his people, in order to get rid of the coronavirus, because they've reported 600 deaths in a nation of almost 10 million people, 600 people died. Wow, they got universal health care. Maybe their universal health care is. But Luca Brasi, his solution is go to the sauna, drink some vodka. That'll help you with your cold. Go to a sauna, drink some vodka, right? C'est la vie, who cares? He downplays the disease. Does this sound familiar? This sounds identical. So diplomatically, right, Luca Brasi, he could go ahead and he could say, okay, I'll go ahead and do what she wants, or hey, I'll, stop with the repression, I'll be nicer. But no, he's not doing any of these things. He's saying he won by 80%, he's going to keep power, and he's going to keep power forever and ever. So he could take her top proposal away, what she proposed. I want to talk about Svetlana. Svetlana, she had proposed that she's just a symbol. So even though she was the main opposition candidate, it's not like she's a political person. She's a stay-at-home mom. She's a wife and a mother. She was a teacher, 50 years ago. But she's a wife and a mother of a guy who was a candidate who went to register to vote. They wouldn't let him register to vote. And so Svetlana felt like she had to jump in. And so she jumped in not to become the president, if she becomes the president, but to have brand new elections, to actually have a fair system. So Svetlana said that if she won, there would be elections, fair elections right away, within a couple months. So Svetlana gave the people of Belarus hope. The people of Belarus are not apathetic anymore. People are watching. People are noticing what the hell is going on. The whole world sees this shit. So Nixon in 1972 to beat George McGovern, the peace candidate, he went ahead and promised that he would get us out of Vietnam. That's how Nixon beat George McGovern. He stole McGovern's thunder. He stole McGovern's #1 talking point. So that's what Luca Brasi could do. He could have brand new fair elections, invite the United Nations, and just show the whole world how the people of Belarus love you. Be transparent. Be honest, man. Revolution or repression? Which way is Belarus going to go? And which way will America go? Let's just say worst case scenario, right? You keep playing with the idea. If one of you just fucking with us, but I keep putting my goodness on people and pretending that they're not. So let's take the President of America at his word. He's not going to step down, right? He's going to say it was mail-in ballots, and he's going to call for a re-election. Then that would put us on the cusp of revolution. The counter-revolutionaries, they can't be like Bolivia. We can't let the counter-revolutionaries take power. They'll be more repressive than what they were before. And since there's a revolution to handle, it's going to be worse. Nixon was elected to stop the revolutionary 1960s. And then he got reelected in 72 by taking the opposition candidate's thunder. The Vietnam War. He's going to get us out of Vietnam. Nixon is going, he escalates the thing, but he's Mr. Escalation, Mr. Imperialist. So Mike Pompeo made a speech. He's standing next to the Prime Minister of the Czech Republic, because all the surrounding countries have to deal with Belarus. It's almost like Mexico and America with the immigration thing. People in Belarus are running to Poland. People in Belarus are running to these other countries. In Poland, you got Ukrainians and Belarusians who go there to work, but the Ukrainians work, save money, and then they go back home. The Belarusians, they work, and then they try to stay in Poland. They don't want to go back to Belarus. We're not going to go back to that shitty-ass political situation. Maybe if Belarus cleans their shit up, we'll go back. So that just shows you, the economic crisis that Belarus is in right now. So Mike Pompeo, America's Secretary of State, said we urge nonviolent protesters to not be harmed. Well, that's, ironic. Mike Pompeo, European Union, he's right, though, so he's picking the right side. It actually makes me a little nervous. Holy shit. Me and Mike Pompeo, me and the Trump administration, me and George W. Bush are all on the same side when it comes to Belarus. I mean, they recognize it's a dictatorship, but shouldn't you topple dictatorship? Isn't that what we did with Saddam? He was a terrible dictator. Yeah, let's have a coalition. Let's go save Belarus and save Hong Kong while we're at it. And then what about those genocides? There's several genocides. Myanmar genocide. There was a genocide with Yemen. Has those those genocides? Have we stopped those genocides or what? So Mike Pompeo, don't hurt the protesters, right? Mike Pompeo says that the Belarus elections, they clearly were not free and fair, and he says that the people of Belarus deserve the freedoms that they're demanding. Mike Pompeo, he was wrong on Venezuela. He's totally wrong on Venezuela. This is how Mike Pompeo redeems himself. Mike Pompeo being on the same side as me has me a little bit worried. But even more so, Putin, Russia. He's warming up to Luca Brasi. This concludes exactly what I thought about Crimea. Crimea. Putin, he's a fucking dictator. The election's a sham. He's a dictating, tyrannical. He administered it was bullshit, pretending he had democratic legitimacy. Because if Putin can look at Belarus and he can see an election where an unpopular man who's been in there for 26 years claims a ridiculous and impossible and a complete bullshit 80% victory, he's telling on himself. This is how Putin sees himself. Putin's been in power, himself for 20-something years. That's way too long, too, with, fake democratic institutions. The opposition leader was the wife of a former candidate. She is now exiled in Lithuania. So where is Svetlana at? Svetlana, she's in Lithuania, so the opposition candidate, she ran. She's scared for her life, and her children was already in Lithuania because she was scared for them. And ultimately, Svetlana needs to stay alive. The symbol needs to stay alive. Her martyrdom would mean that Belarus won't have anybody else to replace the 26-year dictator. So Svetlana needs to stay alive. Let her stay in Lithuania. And in the meantime, get your shit together, Belarus. If anything, have a brand new election. Luca Brasi can't run. Have Svetlana come in, and then whoever else. Put it in the hands of the United Nations. Let the United Nations administer these elections. 80%? If he was a better liar, he would have been, 60% or something, right? But that's even a landslide. So really, I won by 51.3%. But no, this fucking dictator, he's so brazen with his tyranny. He's so brazen with his lies. He don't give a shit that the whole world knows he's a fucking liar. He don't care. He's just going to keep on lying. Pompeo, because he spoke, that means the U.S. is contemplating military force to bring it into the Belarusian conflict. If that's the case, then actually Donald does know right from wrong, and he'll step down once he's been voted out. So I want to go save the Belarusian people. Yes, I do. They had an election. It was a bullshit election. They don't have democracy. Last dictatorship in Europe, and now Russia is trying to take Belarus and put it into his pocket. NATO needs to go into Belarus. Europe needs to go into Belarus. Russia's on the wrong side. They, maybe on Syria they were correct. Maybe on some of the Venezuela, Russia was right. But on Belarus, they are wrong. Specifically, journalist Vitaly Tsyanko, this journalist is pulled out from the car by the police, beaten, thrown to the ground, and then is arrested. At least one person's been killed in these protests. So Svetlana, well, I mean, my God, this little woman calls this great war. Was it Harriet Beecher Stowe? Lincoln said that's a Harriet Beecher. So you're the little woman who calls this war. Svetlana, she's got 2 kids. She ran as a symbol. She's now in Lithuania. Svetlana was a teacher, stay-at-home mother. When her husband was barred from registering to vote, she jumped into the race. She vowed brand new elections once she was elected. Belarus, they can keep folks in jail for 72 hours, 3 days, without any charges, without notifying the family of why, hey, my wife is gone. Where is she? I'm not telling. Are you going to tell me tomorrow? No, not going to tell you tomorrow either. What about the day after that? Not going to tell you then either. What about after that? Yeah, I'll let you know then. Okay. Don't rape her and kill her and attack her, 3 BBC journalists were attacked. Luca Brasi, man. Opposition supporters, he says, are really just sheep being controlled by the foreigners. Oh, okay, Luca Brasi. Right, they're not moral people that believe in democracy. They're not Belarusians that want a fair goddamn system. Now they're a bunch of sheep being controlled by foreigners. I mean, my God, that sounds like the great uniter we got, right? Oh, yeah, what the Democrats, really, they just love China, right? They just love China. They want China to come in and take over everything. Svetlana goes to complain about the results. This is why she's in Lithuania. She goes to complain about the results. She only got 9% of the vote, right? She's the main opposition. And he got 80%. She only got 9. She's arrested. Just like Jill Stein. So this is Belarus coercing. She's going to say something on TV, record some shit saying accept the results and that she, it's all on her own free will and all this other bullshit. And really, she should come out and say that, no, she doesn't accept it. And, you don't want people to die, but you don't want to live like a bunch of slaves either. You live like slaves and you're already dead already. So she was arrested, and she was coerced to declare that she accepted the results, that Luca Brasi had won and everybody should stop protesting. Now, she said different things. She says, after that, she said that Belarus says, we've actually won in many respects. We see the bullshit. We see that we're standing up. We broke the complacency. We broke the apathy. So there's, some successes that they can count on. And the president of Lithuania, Linkevicius, he says that Svetlana is okay, that they're protecting Svetlana. Lithuania's got a 1-year visa for Svetlana. Svetlana was escorted by the Belarusian authorities to the airport, out of the country, in a deal they made with her to release her campaign manager, Maria Moroz, who was arrested and held, for days. Also, you have Svetlana's husband is in prison. So they've already put her husband in prison. They threw her campaign manager in prison. They said, we'll let your campaign manager get out if you get the hell out of Dodge. First record this tape, then get out of Dodge. This is a rigged election from start to finish. The shutting down of the internet with the stun grenades and the violence and the crackdown. They wouldn't allow the opposition candidates. There's just so many things that are wrong with Belarus. So, So what? What can we learn from this? Okay, so there's actually been a lot of post-election riots. I looked a couple of them up.